I've got news that a lot of 49ers fans will love, and I have some scientific proof to back up that claim. Not all too long ago, we set up a poll. 49ers on the clock, number 27 in the first round. Who do you want them to pick? Malachi Lawrence was an option. So was Cassius Howell, a couple edge rushers there. So was Emmanuel McNeil Warren, the safety out of Toledo. But the winner by an absolute landslide was the Arizona State offensive tackle, Max Iheanachor. Right tackle for Arizona State, but the 49ers might have more creative plans for him if they do pick him. And, the good news here is that he has officially visited the 49ers as one of their top 30 visits. That is according to Matt Barrows. I know that a lot of people have been clamoring for this. The guy didn't give up a single sack his final season at Arizona State. He also didn't start playing football until 2021. Born in Nigeria, moved to the United States, has a soccer background. That shows up in the awesome athletic testing and the skill set as far as movement goes. I mean, he scores elite. His relative athletic score is really good in the movement category. But the guy is also nearly 6'6" and 320 plus pounds. And he developed enough in a short period of time as a pass protector to not give up a single sack this past season. Now, we talk about creativity for the 49ers, and I've always maintained that it'd be really hard to thread the needle of drafting somebody to play left guard in the short term and then kick out to left tackle in the long term. Positions are just really specialized in the NFL, so it's tough to ask guys to do something like that. Now, obviously, it would be best for the 49ers to have Trent Williams continue to play at a high level at left tackle and find somebody to spruce up the left guard position in the short run. The question then is, can they find one player to be able to handle both their short-term and their long-term needs? Can the same player who can boost potentially left guard right now also take over for Trent Williams once his career is indeed over? And it's just really, really difficult to find the type of player that would be able to do that in this area of intense specialization. But Max might be just raw enough for the 49ers to take that ambitious path and make it a reality. This is somebody who, again, has only played at right tackle, but he started playing football in 2021, which is very, very recent. Just moving over from the right side to the left side is difficult, but I think one can argue that it might be more difficult for someone who has played right tackle for 15 years, as opposed to somebody who's only been in football for about half a decade. Max started as a tight end, 240 pounds in community college when he was introduced to the game of football. They saw that he could comfortably carry his weight at a higher mark. So he ballooned up to 320 plus, but he's extremely strong. He's well built. There's not a lot of extra fat there, and he could still move. And I think because this has all been such a recent development, there's still meat on the bone to give him the ambidexterity to play on the left side. At 6'6", 320, he's got the prototypical tackle size. He could survive out there. He already showed that at Arizona State. Now he's going to have to show it in the NFL, but I think he could also be a guard in the short term. And the 49ers have been dead set on adding to that guard position. Last year, San Francisco actually ran a timeshare at left guard. The rookie Connor Colby and the veteran Spencer Burford split some time at that left guard position. So the 49ers are not above playing two guys at a certain spot. I mean, Bill Walsh did that at multiple spots back in the 1980s along the offensive line. And it's, interesting that it's not more of a common thing in the NFL. You rotate defensive linemen to keep them fresh. Well, the offensive linemen are going to war with them on every snap. By the end of the game, offensive linemen are comparably more tired than defensive linemen because they've played 100% of the snaps. And D linemen, well, some of those guys are only in there on a third down rotational basis. So the 49ers, if they've got something to settle at one of the positions, if they have a sixth guy on the offensive line who needs more playing time, Chris Foerster has not been afraid to run a rotation. Perhaps Max can get some time for San Francisco at left guard and run a timeshare with Robert Jones, the veteran whom the 49ers signed formerly of the Miami Dolphins and the Dallas Cowboys. Perhaps you can thread a needle of playing this guy at left guard first and then move him over to left tackle later. This is a raw prospect still. Anybody who started playing football in 2021 and is now talking about entering the NFL in 2026 is going to be a raw prospect to some degree. But the 49ers have built up enough offensive line depth to theoretically be able to shepherd Max into the mix. Certainly would be fascinating, and it's very clear that this is a guy with a lot of upside. When you look at the athleticism, something the 49ers have demanded for their offensive line and specifically the tackle position in their scheme. They've invited a couple guards, straight up guards, over the course of the top 30 process, and they've also looked at another tackle up close in Caleb Lomu out of the University of Utah. Lomu, though, is, I think, nowhere near as strong as Max. Lomu is somebody who probably has a comp closer to Mike McGlinchey, who was not a great pass protector for the 49ers, but was athletic and was a really good run blocker. The 49ers are serious about taking a true extra step forward in pass protection ceiling. Well, then I think that Max could be a guy at number 27. He has officially visited. It is definitely worth the watch. Mike and I have been talking a lot about how the 49ers will surf the waves of strategy in this 2026 draft. You have to look at it from the big picture. We can talk about Max all we want, but if he's not there at number 27, or if the 49ers are unable to trade up for him, if he does go sooner at a premium position like offensive tackle, you have to pivot your plans to someone else. And we don't know if the 49ers will go receiver early on. We don't know if they'll go D-line, offensive line. They could even surprise with safety. There are needs all over the board. That is why building in as much option power as possible has been very, very important for the 49ers. The draft this season, I think, and this is something that applies probably to every year. If you're looking to build the strongest trenches possible, it is going to be very much harder to do so in the later rounds, even in the middle rounds. I'm even considering round number 4, where the 49ers have 4 picks, as one where it's going to be tough to find true plug-and-play impact players on the trenches. But I think that you might still be able to find impact players at some of the skill positions in those middle rounds. And the 49ers don't have a pick in round 3, but they do in round 4. They've got 4 of them in round 4. Personally, and our mock draft is going to be dropping tomorrow. Mike is going to join that video, so be sure that you're ready for that. Personally, I think that the 49ers are eyeing receivers at every level so that they can focus on premium trench positions, probably the D-line, but we'll see what their O-line thought is at number 27. Trades are obviously possible, and 27 and 58, who knows? Maybe they both go to the trench positions. But they have left themselves with the necessary option power to be able to operate in any which way. And I think that if this is the last 30 visit that we learn of, then it is a cherry on top for the fans, because they've spoken. They want to see Max in a 49ers uniform. They love the story. They love the perseverance. They love the development from 2021 to now. No sacks given up last year. And maybe some of the flexibility that Max has shown, coming from soccer, coming from Nigeria to Southern California to ASU to being a quality D1 offensive tackle. Maybe some of that flexibility can travel to the NFL, where the 49ers can thread an absolute needle, play him at left guard next to Trent Williams, and then have him succeed Big Trent in the future. That would be the most fun course of action to cover. It may not be particularly likely. It might be really tough to thread that needle, but the 49ers are certainly doing their research in an attempt to potentially try it. We'll see, but all I know is that you should be happy. 49ers saw the poll. They hosted the player. Maybe it's offensive tackle at 27.